So here's how it went down earlier today on First Take. And this one had the Knicks fan base buzzing. The conversation kicked off with the panel diving straight into the team's free agency board, pointing out that New York is actively evaluating multiple guards right now. Among the names being floated, DeLon Wright. Yes, the same Wright who suited up for the Knicks last season and left a strong impression with his defensive work. But here's the real headline. We just got a significant update on who could potentially fill that backup point guard role off the bench next season. And trust me, the way it was broken down on the show, you could feel how much weight this decision carries for the front office. The discussion quickly shifted to the facts. New York has exactly one open roster spot remaining, and it's likely going to a veteran on a minimum deal. Ben Simmons is at the center of this conversation, with the panel making it clear that, like it or not, the Knicks are currently viewed as the frontrunners to land him. That doesn't mean it's a done deal, though. Simmons could still choose to sign elsewhere, and if that happens, the Knicks' front office would need to pivot fast. From there, First Take analysts dove deeper into what that strategic pivot might actually look like for New York. According to fresh reporting from James L. Edwards of The Athletic, the lingering question of who's running the second unit at point guard next season remains not just unanswered, but wide open for interpretation. Edwards emphasized that, in his view, the answer simply isn't on the roster at this moment. While he acknowledged Tyler Cole's upside, praising his poise, vision, and ability to push the pace, Edwards expressed skepticism that the Knicks would be willing to hand such a crucial role to a rookie with no NBA track record, especially when the team is entering the season with championship-level expectations and minimal margin for error. He noted that backup point guard minutes in this environment aren't just about managing the offense, they're about preserving Jalen Brunson's health, maintaining momentum when the starters rest, and ensuring there's no drop-off in competitiveness against elite second units around the league. That's when the conversation naturally shifted to Miles "Deuce" McBride, a player who has consistently earned praise for his defensive tenacity and unshakable mentality. Edwards argued that McBride's skill set is at its best when he's deployed as an off-ball guard, where his quick hands, defensive instincts, and spot-up shooting ability can truly shine without the added responsibility of orchestrating the offense. However, Edwards didn't completely shut down the idea of McBride taking on those backup point guard duties if the Knicks opt to fill the position from within. The panel wrestled with that possibility. Some analysts pointed out that McBride's work ethic, improved decision-making, and steady growth suggest he could surprise people if given the chance to run the second unit. Others, however, cautioned that moving him away from his natural style of play could blunt his strengths and limit the team's overall efficiency. The debate underscored the tension between banking on internal development and seeking outside help, a decision that could quietly become one of the defining factors in the Knicks' season. Now, looping back to the free agent market, Edwards named several guards worth monitoring if Simmons chooses another team. Malcolm Brogdon, Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright, and Monty Morris were all mentioned as legitimate options. And here's where chemistry became part of the conversation. Shamet already has on-court familiarity with several Knicks rotation players, and Wright built his own connections during his time in New York last season. While Wright's scoring punch is modest, his playmaking and defensive presence make him an intriguing option, especially considering the Knicks have openly prioritized adding more defensive-minded veterans this offseason. The First Take crew highlighted that Wright's ability to disrupt opposing guards, force turnovers, and stabilize the defense was a real asset during his previous stint in New York. At the same time, Shamet's shooting from deep and solid perimeter defense were also seen as strong selling points. So if Simmons passes on the Knicks and maybe joins a team like Boston, the expectation is that New York would quickly shift gears toward a player like Shamet or Brogdon. For now, though, it's a waiting game. As the panel bluntly put it, everything stops until Ben Simmons decides. Multiple teams are holding their next moves until his future is settled. Once that domino falls, the market for other free agents will open up, and the Knicks will either have Simmons in their backcourt mix, or they'll be hunting for their next best option. and that brought the conversation right back to McBride. Edwards' point stuck in the air. Could Deuce really take on that backup floor general role and thrive? Some at the table said they'd be surprised. Others weren't so sure. But one thing was unanimous. Whatever route the Knicks take, it's going to reveal a lot about how confident they are in their current guard depth and just how aggressive they're willing to be to keep pace in an increasingly competitive Eastern Conference. It's possible that Deuce has some untapped playmaking skills none of us have seen yet, but it's just as possible that he doesn't. If Mike Brown wants to experiment with him at the backup point guard spot, I'm fine with that. Let's see how it works. Maybe Deuce surprises us and does well there. If it doesn't work, like many of us expect, then you make an adjustment. Maybe you slot Jordan Clarkson into that role, or maybe, as James Edwards suggested in his article, the Knicks haven't even signed their backup point guard yet. That player could end up being Ben Simmons, Malcolm Brogdon, or maybe even DeLon Wright. At this point, we have no idea exactly where the Knicks stand. We know Simmons is on the radar, along with a couple of other names, but beyond that, the picture isn't clear. What I do know for certain is that Kevin Love is absolutely not part of that picture, and probably never was. Let's put that rumor to rest. Thanks to Brett Siegel, an NBA insider at Clutch Points, we can. According to him, and as shared by NBA Central, word around the league is that Love wants to end up in Los Angeles. Yes, there were whispers about New York, but there's no real interest from the Knicks. And for that, thank you, Leon Rose. If the Knicks wanted a wing, Chris Boucher was sitting there for weeks before signing with Boston. Clearly, that wasn't the direction they wanted to go. So, Kevin Love to the Knicks? Never happening. If he's headed anywhere, it's probably to the Lakers. And good luck to him, if that's the case. Back to the Knicks. Whoever they sign to fill that final roster spot, it doesn't change the bigger picture. This team, as currently constructed, is a legitimate contender. Every move in free agency, every trade over the past few seasons has been building toward this moment. The Knicks are one of the favorites to win the championship next season, and the odds reflect that. Our channel sponsor FanDuel has the Knicks at 8,000 to make the playoffs, with the no option sitting at +400. In other words, don't bet against them. They're not just favored to make the playoffs, they're considered a threat to win it all. That's because of the roster, the off-season additions, the new head coach, and the All-Stars leading this team. The pieces are in place to be a force in the Eastern Conference, to make a finals run, and maybe, with the right mix of luck, coaching, and chemistry, to bring a title back to New York. That chemistry part is huge. If the starters and bench can embrace their roles, sacrifice for one another, and keep the bigger goal in mind, the Knicks can be one of the league's very best team. They've got the roster, the coach, and the belief. The odds makers see it, the league sees it, and the players themselves know it. The pressure will be there. Everyone expects this team to reach the finals. Not every player can handle that, but under Mike Brown, the Knicks seem ready to embrace it. From what we're hearing, there's excitement in the locker room, excitement to play for Mike Brown, excitement for the challenge, excitement to go all the way. I'm hyped for next season and can't wait for it to start. How about you? What do you think about the possibility of the Knicks adding DeLon Wright if Ben Simmons is off the table? Drop your thoughts in the comment, because I'd love to hear from you. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourselves, your families, and each other. Peace.